In about March 2020, the COVID-19 pandemic started to hit us.
The pandemic is still here today.
To cope the pandemic, our country is currently imposing movement control orders and we are required to stay at home.
While staying at home, it is important that we take good care of our physical health, oral health, state of mind, and so on.
We, JCI Perai, are trying to make your time at home interesting and effective. We are going to feed you with knowledge, information, and fun facts.
We will be having sharing speakers who are mostly healthcare professionals, and they will share with us useful information and knowledge that we may not know.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned and remember to check our Facebook page to find out more.
Come join us, be active citizens to create positive impact to our communities.
Ladies and gentlemen, see
See
you
you
soon!
soon!
See you soon!
A very good evening to fellow audience. I'm Lucas Khaw from JCI Perai, the moderator for the tonight sessions, the From Evening to Night, initiated by our organizing chairman, Jun Lo, with the guidance of our local president, Mr. Keith Lee. Tonight, we are pleasure and honor enough to have our speakers here, Floyd, who practice as a clinical psychologist. So Floyd, I will give a very good evening and very welcoming from our JCI Perai. So I will pass you the floor for you to introduce yourself to our fellow audience.
Okay. Hi everyone, so my name is Florentyna, but usually I'll just ask everyone to call me Flo, right? It's easier that way. So I'm actually a clinical psychologist in a private center located in PJ, known as the Mind Psychological Services and Training. So I provide psychotherapy to adults, children who are struggling, basically.
I see, Flo. This is very interesting and very excitement career, I would say.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I see. But Flo, what inspired you in pursuing as a psychologist in the first place?
Wow. Okay. So I think it goes way back into my teenage years, right? So basically, I was bullied previously, right? And it kind of like hit my self-esteem back then during school time. And so I also was very curious in terms of how come like this happens to me, right? So that actually sparks my interest in going into clinical psychology, trying to understand what was it that I was going through and also to help other people as well. Yeah.
I see. It's like a mission type of initiative for moving you into this career.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I very much enjoy what I'm doing right now, really. Yeah.
Glad to hear that. I feel happy for the society as well. Because like psychologists, it sounds very unique, somehow very mystery, even very powerful for certain people. But people tend to think that being a psychologist, they are actually able to read others' mind. How true do you find about this common statement of common norm from the public?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a misconception. Like if I don't know you and I can't read your mind, you see. You basically need to tell me what is it going through in your life, then I only be able to analyze what is it that you're thinking and why is it that you tend to behave in a certain way, right?
I see.
So yeah, that's a total misconception, like that we can read minds.
Yeah. Like everything needs to start from the fact findings, only you can start to evaluating the person.
Right. That's why we in therapy sessions, what we do is we will get like an intake session. So like the doctors, they will go through like a checklist, in terms of the history and all. So we do that as well, so that we can get an idea of what is happening with the client, basically.
I see, Flo. Yeah, Flo, in light of the MCO, I will start with some question relate the most with the issue of pandemic.
Yeah.
As far as the COVID is concerned, people always thought that it will cause sickness or even to the extent of maraguting one's life without paying too much attention to the fact that in the actual fact, to a very large extent, And the pandemic issue does impose some weight or affecting one's mental health. So like, how do pandemic in general affects our mental health?
Yeah, so basically the COVID-19 pandemic, right, is definitely increasing the levels of stress and anxiety, right, among everyone, right, all people, all walks of life. And the thing is the lack of predictability and the lack of control associated with the stress and anxiety. So you see, if you kind of think of it, it's very scary, right? If you come to think of it, that something that cannot be seen by the naked eye, right? Some that we don't even know where it is, right? Might be around us, and that we will need to be on guard to protect ourselves and to keep ourselves safe, basically, right?
I see.
And the thing is, right, there's just so many things that's happening just because of that one virus, right? So when it comes to children, you know about that virtual learning. They need to learn how to adapt, to learning through a computer, as opposed to the traditional way of like being in classrooms, right? Or that, we adults right now, being at home, we suddenly have so much responsibility, right? So let's say if you're a parent, you suddenly become a parent, an employee, or maybe a caregiver to your older parents. You see, you're suddenly taking on so much role, as opposed to last time, you go to work and you just do whatever is necessary at work, and then you only come back, right? But right now, it's like all the responsibilities all on you, right? And now our frontliners also, right? Yeah, working additional hours, to treat patients with the COVID-19. And also they are also seeing like the number of deaths that is happening. So all of these things that I mentioned, right? I think there's also businesses are being affected also, that creates that insecurity, right, in terms of their job. So all of these things that I mentioned, it creates that additional stress to our day-to-day life, right? And if we don't take good care of ourselves, right, it will affect both our physical and also our mental health.
I see. Like Flo, you mentioned,
yeah,
the stress mostly concern with the stress issue. Is the stress the main cause of psychological issue, or any others main cause or other causes that will bring psychology issues apart from stress?
Okay. So I would say that stress itself, right, is not the only thing, not the only factor that contributes to psychological issues, right? So if you come to think of it, right, okay, Lucas, do you have stress in your day-to-day life?
Yeah, I do have.
You do have, right?
Yes.
And the thing is, it's actually very normal, in our part of our daily life, right? So every one of us would experience it. Imagine when there is no stress at all, right, in our lives, will we be motivated in meeting our deadlines, or will we be even taking precaution of the whole virus right now, right, and ensuring our safety, right? But so in a way, I would say stress is not the only factor, right? So there's actually this model is known as the biopsychosocial model. So it views mental health and illnesses, right, as the product of biological factors. So it is about genetics, it runs in the family. There's also psychological factors, right? Whether you have the coping skills, or whether your personality, or your self-esteem as a person. And also there's social factors, such as the stresses that we meet on a day-to-day basis, like and whether we have enough support in our environment. So all of this, right, is like the interaction of all of these factors that determines that one whether will would develop into like a mental illness and all.
I see. Like Floyd, just now you mentioned,
yeah,
everyone endure the same stress, or not the same stress. Everyone endure or encountered stress in their own life.
Yeah.
So the person who trouble or encountering with the psychological sickness, is that meant by they don't have the enough ability to face the stress or the challenges that happens in their own life?
Possibly that can, again, when we were to look at the biopsychosocial model, right? So it maybe they do not have the skills, to cope with whatever that they are facing at the moment. And also maybe that comes into play with maybe not enough support in their environment. So basically there needs to be that interaction between these different factors that lead to that outcome. Yeah.
I see, I see. Just now we learned about the causes
Yeah.
that bring us or make us encounter some stress. Like you mentioned that everyone has stress in their own life.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you share with us how we're going to monitor our mental health?
Okay.
Is there any measurements or guideline for us?
Okay, so again, I believe that we ourselves are the best person, right, to tell how we are actually doing, right? If you notice that you're not able to function on a day-to-day basis, so for example, you're not able to work as how you used to work, or do what is necessary of you to do, or if you notice that you're not sleeping well or eating well as compared to your best self, then especially for a long period of time, then it is something that we really need to take note of, right? Or that maybe family members, right, if they notice that there are certain changes in your behavior that which is observable, like suddenly that maybe your mood is not so good, right, and they notice that it's not very usual of you to be in that way, then it gives you a sign of what is going on, right? But if you're still unsure, then you can actually visit a mental health professional, and they can actually help you to assess to see your situation, right? Some of them will use like screening tools to monitor how you are doing in terms of your mental health.
I see, Floyd. Thank you so much for the precise sharing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Floyd, I would like to move to a next question, which concerns me the most because it happens to my surrounding friends. One of my friends, I got a friend where he need to wash his hands frequently, or in a very consistent basis. So it somehow render him a bit unique if compared to a normal person. Is there a kind of diseases or what is the causes that make this thing happen?
Okay, the thing is, right, because right now we're in a pandemic, we're in a COVID-19 pandemic, and our tendency to engage in hand washing behavior, right, is definitely much more when compared to a non-pandemic situation. So meaning to say that in this current context, it becomes it is normal for us to engage in that hand washing behavior. Is normal at this point of time. Because again, it helps us, it protects us from getting the virus, basically, right? But the hand washing behavior becomes a problem, right, when it impacts on the person's daily functioning. Just now when I mentioned it, impacts on the person day-to-day functioning, where they're not able to work, or the hand washing behavior is becoming, taking up so much of your time on it, and other areas of your life, for example, your working, or your chores, or your eating, sleeping is affected, basically. Yeah, so that is when it becomes the problem, right? And also the thing is, with just now you mentioned being obsessed, right?
True. Yeah, obsessing in hand washing.
So basically, we need to be mindful, when using the term obsess or obsessing, like what do you mean by that? Because it can be defined in a way that has that pleasurable component. You see, like for example, I can be obsessed with music, right?
I see.
Yeah, but when it comes to individuals who are diagnosed with obsessive compulsive disorder, yeah, have you heard of the term before?
Pardon?
Obsessive compulsive disorder.
Oh no, this is first time I heard it.
First time, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, obsessive compulsive disorder, right? They people with this disorder, they are actually doesn't enjoy these obsessions at all, right? Basically, they are recurrent and persistent urges and images that are very intrusive and really unwanted, you see. And they do not want to have these thoughts at all, as it makes them very distressing. It makes them feel so anxious, right? And yeah, so that is why they attempt to ignore or suppress or to neutralize them with some other actions. So the hand washing behavior, right, is known as the compulsion, right? So it aims to reduce or prevent the anxiety or distress, and can sometimes be a response to the obsession, right? Now, all individuals with obsessive compulsive disorder, right, so known as OCD, their issues are very unique. Whatever they have in mind when conducting the hand washing behavior may be different to another person, but most of the time, like what goes through their mind is that the most common obsession is that is in relation to hand washing is due to the fear of contamination or contaminating other people. Yeah.
I see. So being obsessive in washing their hand might be their own way in relieving their own stress, is it?
Correct. Yeah, the distress and the anxiety also. Yeah.
I see. Yeah, Floyd, let us move forward to the question we concerns with the working adult the most. Because I strongly believe many working adults are living together with a family, either their parents, wife, children, so on and so forth. So the same worry caught me as well, being the working adult where I live with my parents. So I feel anxious about catching the virus and transmitting it to my loved one, because we are staying together. And like you said, the virus is surrounding us and we can't see it, whether it's beside us or where we're going to encounter it. The things get worse when I was forced to attend to courts, all this, because we never know that who we met, even how hard we try to
protect yourself, right?
Yes, protect yourself or prevent from catching the virus, we still cannot ensure everything. So how can you give a guideline to those working adults from suffering, who are suffered from this anxiety?
So I would say that it is definitely normal to feel worried or anxious about, catching the virus and transmitting to people who you really care, right? And so the first step is to really accept and validate those feelings, and we can make good use of this anxiety or this worry, right, that we have, as it will allow us to be more mindful to keep ourselves and other people safe, right? But if your anxiety, right, level is skyrocketed due to the particular thought that I will catch the virus and transmit it to my loved one, right? So I will then recommend you to do some deep breathing exercise, because when you're having that stressful and anxious thought, what will happen is it will kind of let you to be in that fight or flight response, like trying to protect yourself, right? And so doing that deep breathing exercise actually calms down that nervous system, right? So actually, so the mind, so the place that I'm working at, we actually have a YouTube channel, right, called What's on Our Mind. So basically it has a video where we show how to do that deep breathing exercise. Yeah. So basically, instead of engaging in much more of a shallow breathing, so when we're stressed, we will breathe in very shallowly. We will breathe in deeply all the way down to our diaphragm area. So to keep ourselves calm. Yeah.
I see, Floyd.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Floyd.
Yeah.
Following with the implementation of FMCO, the Full Movement Control Order, which I think is very sufficient safeguard, very great safeguard undertaken by the government. Because I think the previous condition and figures are really, really out of hand before this. But nevertheless, after the implementation of FMCO, many working adults, they are required to work from home. Then it raised a further question encountered by them, including me, when I lose my sleep after the enforcement of FMCO, which I don't know the reason behind. And can I know what is the main causes of it and what I can do in order to get rid of it?
Okay. So there's actually many factors that disrupts the person's sleep, especially after the enforcement of the MCO, right? But one of the factors that I can think of is there's a lot of accumulated stress and anxiety during the day, and that it has not been managed or addressed in a way, or that because we did not place certain boundaries between work time and personal time, because now we're usually at home, right? Most of the time.
Yes.
So, sometimes our work time or our personal time tends to get slipped into it, and it will affect our sleeping time, right? It can also be due to the overuse of devices. I'm not sure whether do you use your devices at night most of the time?
Yes, more frequently lah.
More frequently, right?
Yeah, somehow it's FMCO now.
Yeah. So I noticed that a lot of us right now are using our devices very, very frequently, right? And what happens is, especially during the night, right? That when we are using our devices, it actually suppresses the production of melatonin in our brain, right? So it's actually a hormone that promotes sleep. Yeah. So I would really recommend having a good sleep hygiene. So basically, it's good habits of sleeping. One of them, we can be setting a regular time to go to sleep and wake up at the same time, right? And especially, now that we don't have a clear structure in terms of work, right? It's very important for us to wind down after work, doing something more relaxing, like the deep breathing exercise that I mentioned just now, or do something that is pleasurable, right? And not to use your devices at least 1 hour before you go to sleep. I don't know whether that is doable for you. 1 hour, I find it difficult myself. So I tell my clients like at least 30 minutes of before you go to bed, the minimum. Yeah. So and another thing is I think a lot of adults are working from home, right? So it's very important not to work in your bed. I don't know whether you do that from time to time as well.
Certain times, certain times.
Certain times, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so basically, right, the bed or the bedroom, right, is meant to be a place for you to sleep and having that relaxing time, right? So if you're working in your bed, right, what you're actually doing is you're actually associating the work stress to the bed. So yeah, so try to do it elsewhere besides the bed. It can be elsewhere, maybe in the living room or another room, for example. If really don't have a space for you to do, just don't do it on the bed. Just do it somewhere else that is far, far away from the bed. Yeah.
I see. This is a very, very great tips from Floyd.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Besides, very difficult. Besides from the issue of I lost my sleep, I feel my productivity was dropped when I required to work from home throughout the period.
Yep.
What was the causes, and is the environment, the change of environment, a key factors that affects one productivity?
I guess it can be very daunting, right, for some to work from home, right? As previously we are able to meet our colleagues, face to face, have that social interaction with them, talking about things besides work, right? And having that structured lifestyle, basically. But now, yeah, I agree, it's being robbed from us, right? And we have to learn to adapt to this loose structure at home and not much of social interaction while working from home. And the thing is, I also, what I notice is that the most things that brings us joy, right, are no longer part of our lives anymore due to the pandemic. Last time when after work, what we do is we will go out and meet friends, or traveling, cafe hopping, all of these things, right? But these things that motivate us, before the pandemic is now no longer part of our life anymore, and when you take these things out of the equation and not having that pleasurable activities on hand, right, it just make life seems just about work, right? That's why the productivity also go down, right? If life is all about work, it's like it's not very it's just very daunting again, right? And also people may be grieving the loss of these things that matter to them, and not knowing when they can ever return to the old normal, which leads them to that sense of hopelessness, right? And not only that, if you're staying with family, having to take care of another person at home, which is an additional responsibility, requires a lot of demand and energy, and also have that tendency to be distracted also, right? So all of these things actually can affect a person's productivity at work. I'm not sure about you, like when I hit those points, like do you relate to that or?
Yes, it do relates to me. For example, I tend to work on my bed. Then I campur adukkan my relaxing place and the place will bring me comfort.
Yeah.
That's why even I felt very stressed or anxiety when I'm sleeping.
Yeah. I think another point that I forget to point out, right, that whenever you have, I don't know whether do you have that stressful or anxious thoughts before going to bed or?
I don't have in general sense.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel relaxed when I go to bed, but just cannot sleep. Then the anxiety comes back because I'm worried that it might affect my next day productivity. So yeah, I'm forcing myself to sleep, but it can't work. Then the anxiety start coming back. Is there any way, Flo, you can recommend to us how to get to sleep?
Because now we don't want to associate the frustration to the bed, right? So whenever you feel that you cannot sleep at all, what you can do is you can remove yourself from the bed and do something as boring as possible. Something that is boring. What can be boring is you can maybe walk around your home, right? And not doing anything very stimulating, right? And when you notice that you're starting to get sleepy already, right? When you're doing these boring activities, then only you come back to the bed. So what you're doing is you're trying to associate that sleepiness to the bed. Yeah. So that's my recommendation. Remove yourself from the bed if you're like lying down in it like for 20 minutes and still cannot go to sleep. Remove yourself and do something boring, then come back. Then you're sleepy already, then only come back to the bed. Yeah.
Thanks for it. I will try it tonight if the thing is still encountering me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Floyd, speaking of the pandemic, the general publics encounter stress and anxiety from different aspects, for which we have just discussed two of them.
Yeah.
Then I think mainly they will focus, the stress encountered will be a financial one, because all the economic sector or activities is somehow affected. So how can one cope with the stress and anxiety that one experience? Because of the installments, then they got difficulties in getting monies to pay the installments. Yeah, is there any way or tips like for one to relieve their stress?
Okay, so I guess yes, it's definitely very difficult, right, time for many people is because some of them are losing their jobs due to the pandemic. Again, it's very important for those who are struggling at the moment, right, to acknowledge how they are feeling at that point of time, right? When we are able to acknowledge that what we are going through is not easy, right, without any forms of judgment, right, not blaming yourself, for what is happening and all, right, and not pushing. And I think a lot of times that, whenever we feel this way, right, we feel anxious or stressed, right, what we want to do is push and get rid of the emotions, right? But actually, right, those emotions are your friends. They tell you important information about yourself as a person, you see. So, by not pushing them away, right, it will actually help the process much easier, right? And we are able to gain clarity of the situation. We can tell ourselves that, yes, it sucks to be in this situation right now, but then again, being aware that it's not the end of the world yet, right? there's still something that I can do right now to a certain extent to meet my basic needs, right? And whatever we are going through right now doesn't mean that it will be forever. Yeah, because I think a lot of times when we are going through that situation, we will think like, oh no, I will forever be in that financial hardship. But that is not the case. It's not going to be forever. So I think what's important is taking care of ourselves, right? Engaging in a much more general self-care, right, will help us to function in a day-to-day life. Right? So again, the importance of having good sleep, making sure that you're engaging in like a physical activity, staying hydrated, and also having that balance and regular meals, right? And when we have that healthy body and healthy mindset, it will help us to go through that difficult time. Yeah.
I see, Floyd. Yeah, among your career, throughout your career, what was the most impressive experience that you have underwent, like in facing the patient?
Actually, to be honest, I really can't think of any impressive experiences, right, in my career. But one thing that I'm really glad is that I was able to be part. I play a part in every of my clients' life. The good and the bad. So the chance to actually plant a seed in them and seeing them grow to be the person that they become, right, is fulfilling enough for me, right? And I see a lot of strengths in my clients, just coming from a bad place, but taking the effort to come for therapy, or trusting me, a stranger, right, to guide them through their goals. It's really amazing, just looking at it in that perspective. Yeah. And then every time my client makes the smallest change, right, that they do, I will take every opportunity to celebrate those wins as it's not easy for them, right, and to make that change. So yeah, actually these are the things that are important to me in my career. There's no one in particular that that I can like put on to say that it's impressive in a way. Yeah.
I see. Floyd, besides it's rumors to me.
Okay.
They say that one who suffered from the psychological issue, it will even affect his ability to work. We need to say this person cannot work at all. Even doing house chorus will be a difficult task for them. Then they were just lying on the bed. It caused my wonders whether affections on in terms of their mental can even affect to his ability to do a very simple task in their own life.
Okay, so your question is that whether someone with a psychological issues, whether they are able to work on or able to function, is that right?
Yes, not to mention the work very simple tasks in their own life, also very difficult for them to accomplish. Doing how chorus just washing plate or even cooking, also they cannot function at all. Yeah, so, what makes them, what's rendered them to be so, how to say, I can say malfunction
Okay, so in what I see in my clients is that basically the reason why they are not able to function on a day-to-day basis is maybe the issues that they are going through are not resolved in a way, right? Maybe like again I say pushing away their feelings, or pushing away whatever issues that they have previously and just continue with life. And so whatever that is not resolved there, it will affect with your again, it comes back to day-to-day functioning. Right? Yeah. So that's why it's very important that when you know that you're not doing so well in your mental health, right, it's very important for you to seek a psychologist or a counselor, that you can actually talk to. And because again, you come into therapy, it's not just talk only. Is what we will do is we will provide you skills to cope with your day-to-day life. Yeah. So that's why, and the thing is, people who has a mental disorder, right? I know that they are with therapy or sometimes with the help of medication, they will be able to function back in society. That's how they used to be.
I see, Floyd.
Mhm.
Yeah, Floyd, speaking, back to the topic of MCO, when people's working life or working environments has a big changes, when you brought big changes
Yep.
to the working environment, all this,
Mhm.
then people like me, being a lawyer, then I have to speak in the court. But now we have to address the court by way of Zoom or e-review that we call like a long distance meeting.
Yep.
So like it troubles me a bit. It brought anxiety to me. If I are required to speak in the court, then it will be fine to me. But in terms of I need to speak in front of the camera, then I feel anxiety. Can you know what is the causes of it? Is there any linkage to public speaking?
I think again, everyone's different, right? I'm not sure for your case, like when you are actually performing in front of the camera, right? What was going through your mind at that point of time, right? Because actually, for me, it was the other way around. I feel more comfortable speaking in front of the camera as opposed to being in a physical setting, and like to give the speech or whatsoever, right? So I guess it comes back to you is what was going through your mind when you know that you're going to be on camera and to talk, right? Is it because there is worried that there's that form of judgment there from other people, or is it that you worry that you make a mistake, or is it that there's so many people that are looking at you and there's spotlight on you, right? Yeah. So I think again it's very important for us to try to understand what is your issue with being put on the spot or public speaking, right? So when you know what is the issue, then you are then able to brainstorm ways to deal with the situation, right? So yeah, I guess your one thing to ask yourself is, okay, right now I'm going to go for court, via Zoom, right? So what am I thinking right now, right? What is going through my mind? Because again, the thoughts that came out, right, affects how you feel, and then it affects how you behave. So knowing what the thought is, then you know what to do about it, right?
I see, Floyd.
Yeah.
Yeah, Floyd, is there any method or any channel for the public to reach you in order to seek for further advice or consultation?
To reach out to me, one place that you can go is our website, themind.com.my, right? And you can write in the contact us page, and you can seek out for me, yeah.
I see. Thank you so much, Floyd, for your time and the information sharing.
Yeah, I enjoy my time here as well. Thank you for doing this for the public.
Yeah, thank you. I would like to invite our president to deliver his closing speech for tonight's session.
Yeah.
Good evening, Flo, OC June, moderator Lucas, and audience. First of all, on behalf of JCI Perai, I would like to express deepest gratitude and thank you, Flo, for your precious time and insightful sharing with us. Recently, a lot of cases we can see in news whereby people commit suicide, and with the pandemic, many people facing a lot of stress. Mental health issue become a crucial problem in this time. Few takeaway informative point today I learned is the briefing, exercise, quality sleeping, and others. I believe that this sharing will benefit the audience during the lockdown and with the current COVID-19 pandemic problem that affected all of us here. Your informative sharing about clinical psychology bring us a lot of values to our audience and create awareness to communities on the importance of mental health towards JCI Rise. So right now, in this evening, I'm going to share a little bit about JCI. So JCI, basically we have 4 areas of opportunity. So in last few sessions, I've shared 3 of the opportunity. So tonight I'm going to share the business and entrepreneurship pillar or the development. So in JCI, we learn critical thinking, problem solving, project management skill, effective meetings, interpersonal and communication skill. So member pursue personal business interests through the national business network as well as the worldwide international networking activities. So JCI member also able to develop business and entrepreneurship skill through their participation in JCI. This is all critical to being successful in business world. So another way is member are able to learn and develop skill that is very important in business and entrepreneurship through the networking opportunities, and whether they formalize a networking event or just a meeting like-minded young people through JCI. Members are able to meet and network with all sorts of the business world, especially when we are organizing a lot of projects. So member can able to take part in the project itself, and they can meet a lot of people throughout when the project partnership and stakeholder with the corporate as well as the government sector. So in JCI Perai, we plan a lot of corporate visit, entrepreneur sharing, business sharing, and partnership with the local business community, also to do the CSR project for the communities. And also JCI organize a big event, national events such as CYA, TOYM. CYA is Creative Young Entrepreneur Award, TOYM Top Outstanding Young Malaysian, to award the individual and company. At many national and international events, time is set aside especially for business visit. So in JCI, we have a lot of like expat and JCI World Congress. Also, this also the opportunity allowed JCI member to get a good networking and also build partnership for the future. So JCI is where our power unite. With the unity, we can create a better world for everyone. So affirming to our JCI creed that economic justice can best be won by free men through free enterprise. So JCI use the skill and abilities in improving their economy. Brownfield thought where economic improvement can be the greatest man have been free to follow his dream of making a personal fortune by doing something or never or done before or by doing it better. He also said the system of self-development through private enterprise could be adapted with variation to suit to local condition in many parts of the world, making positive impact. So the business and entrepreneurships align to JCI Rise with one vision towards one future. So stay tuned for our news, upcoming event and project at JCI Perai Facebook and YouTube page. Last but not least, remember to follow SOP, social distancing, and wear masks all the time. We need to keep healthy and take care of our family and friends. So I wish everyone in great health and happiness. So thank you to OC June and moderator Lucas for this wonderful session. So back to you, Lucas. Thank you.
Thank you, President. Now I would like to welcome our organizing chairman, Ms. Jun Lo, to present a certificate of appreciation to our speaker. I would like to invite our president, Mr. Kifli, to witness this presentation.
As the organizing chairperson of this evening tonight program, I would now like to present this certificate of appreciation to our sharing speaker, Florentyna Chuah. Can we all smile to the camera and take a picture? The certificate will be emailed to you later today.
So who will take the photo shooting?
Would you want to help?
Okay. Okay, I'm ready. 1, 2, 3. So I think I take another one. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Let me check. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay. Good.
Flo, thank you so much for agreeing to be our sharing speaker. Thank you for coming on to our show and for your amazing contribution.
Yeah, and thank you for coming up with this awesome event for everyone.
Our pleasure. Back to you, Lucas.
Yeah, thank you again. Thank you so much again, Ms. Floyd, for your precious time in making this happen. I hope you guys enjoy the sharing sessions for tonight, and do check us out at our Facebook page, JCI Perai, where there was numerous sessions are upcoming. Thank you and hope to see you all again. Bye.